What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson, and conspicuous by his absence is the podcast dad, Chris Hoops. He is fulfilling his parental obligations tonight, so he's off going to be a dad, but it's still Thursday. We got one more show to do to round out our week, and I couldn't think of a better person to join me tonight. I'm joined by Josh Fields of IWE down in Georgia. Josh, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
Doing great. I appreciate you having me.
No problem at all. No problem at all. We appreciate you joining us. For those out there watching, we had the opportunity to travel down to Dublin, Georgia last week for Lariato Pro Wrestling. That is where we finally got to connect with Josh in person to set this up. We were down supporting our friend Bryce Cannon, and ahead of their show this weekend at IWE Pro, I just wanted to bring Josh on so we can talk all things IWE and see what questions there might be out there for our audience that's listening tonight. So. Josh, let's get right on into it, man. Tell us a little bit about the origin story of IWE.
Well, we started off about 5 years ago as let's see what's going to happen, and it is now morphed into selling out the last three shows that we've had. We're lucky enough to sell it out 550 people at each show for the last three shows, and hope to sell it out again this Saturday night.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now I know you have a business partner in this endeavor. How do you go about picking somebody, especially in a business like wrestling, as far as partnering with somebody to put on events? What's kind of the thought process that goes into selecting a business partner?
Well, me and Tim have known each other ever since. I mean, we were in high school, which was a long time ago. Unfortunately, too long ago. But we got together probably 5 years ago. I You've got to have trust with somebody. I mean, the business is always business, and you got to be able to trust your business partner and make sure that y'all are going to both be on the same page at the end of the day. And I think that's what works well with me and Tim.
I like it. I like it. So let's take the promoter hat off for a second, and let's put the wrestling fan hat on. So tell us about your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
So once again, I'm going to date myself. So
That's okay.
a lot of people in Twitter are probably gonna like what, but the match that hooked me was the Tully Blanchard Magnum TA I Quit match. That
Oh yeah.
is that was the match that captivated my attention. And then after that, I mean, I've always been a wrestling fan. Taking brief pauses in my wrestling fandom, but I was definitely an '80s wrestling fan, and then an Attitude era, and now I really enjoy pretty much all of the wrestling now. But yeah, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair. That was my era of childhood, and that's what hooked me into wrestling.
I like it. I like it. A little bit about IWE. You guys are based in Georgia. What are some of the hurdles to starting a new wrestling promotion, especially, because it seems that, you can always find one just about everywhere you go. Do you find yourself with any hurdles or limitations when you start something from scratch that people haven't been familiar with before or haven't had any exposure to?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just trying to find the secret sauce that makes it work for you. I know a lot of people start wrestling independent promotions. I see them start up all the time, and it takes work. It's just not something you can do, and it's gonna be instant success. You have to put the work in. You have to find what your fans enjoy. Um, it's just a whole mixture of stuff to find the perfect sauce to make you successful.
Awesome, awesome. So you guys have a show coming up this weekend. Let's start there. What's the show called?
The show this weekend is titled "Never Say Die." We have a lot of great talent. We have Alex Kane versus Suge. We have the Exotic Youth versus Buff and Fluff. We have White Mike, who is our IWE champion. We have Lindsay Snow versus Danny Jordan in a tables match for the IWE Women's Championship. Um, let's see. Sorry, I got to go through my notes here.
No,
We
that's
got
okay. That's okay.
we got Charlie Anarchy versus Skrilla the Great. Everybody's trying to figure out how is Skrilla in Texas and going to be in Augusta. My answer to them is buy a ticket and find out. And we have a triple threat match with Emily J versus Brittany Brooks versus Erica Demia. And we have Chad Skywalker's also going to be there, Billy Brash, Colby Carino of NWA, and Hunter Young and the Hierarchy and Rob Killjoy. And it's going to be a loaded show. I promise you that.
I love it. I love it. Tell for those that aren't familiar with an IWE show, take us through kind of what kind of environment do you want to cultivate as far as a fan experience? What can people expect when they go to an IWE show?
Well, our fans have cultivated our environment. I would say that it's closest thing to being to old school ECW that you would find now. Our
Okay.
fans are rowdy. We do have a bar that's in the place that we use, and they utilize that bar very well. And once the show get once the show gets rocking, it gets very rowdy, and the fans let you know if you're good and if you're not good very quickly.
I like it. I like it. So in the history of IWE, what are some of your top defining, industry or not necessarily industry, but promotion defining moments that you've seen that you would want to share with the audience?
Well, unfortunately, one is when we went worldwide with the incident that happened at our show. We made unfortunately we were it didn't there's no such thing as bad publicity, and I would keep it at that. But defining moments is our women's division. There's really in the state of Georgia really wasn't one. And we started that like 3.5 years ago, and we now you start seeing more and more promotions in Georgia using the women's division, and I feel like we had a hand in that. Um, we've had just a lot of crazy moments. That, like I say, the crowd is just our crowd is our crowd, and you will not find our crowd anywhere in America. And when it's rocking in there, we have a small building, and 550 people is the maximum capacity. And when there's 550 people in that place, it gets loud very quick.
I like it. I like it. You've compared yourself to ECW a little bit here. So, are
Our
there
crowd, our
any?
crowd, our
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah, yes. Yes, your crowd has been compared to you've compared them to ECW. Tell us about some of your fans that stick out to you. Is there a sign guy? Is there a hat guy? Somebody that has kind of that same ilk that is at your show, die hard, always ready to enjoy the fun. That you just when you know that they're there, they're having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't have that guy. I mean, we have our regulars, but what I love is the mix of women, children, old, young. I mean, we have a very diverse crowd, and that's something I'm very proud of. We have people. We always have about 100 newbies that show up just because they found out that there's wrestling in Augusta. I mean, it's a we don't have we have our diehards that are going to be there. We have an older lady named Miss Betty, and she hates every heel that walks through there. And you're going to hear her every time a heel walks through the curtain.
I like it. I like it. So what are some logistical hurdles that you find yourself dealing with when you're booking a wrestling show that the average fan may not realize or notice that goes into the preparation of an event?
I would say the first hurdle is travel, especially if you're flying someone in. Um, we really don't have we're not a hub city for an airport. We do have a small airport. And if there's weather that pops up out of nowhere and delays someone's plane, the travel is the biggest thing for any wrestling promotion because you don't know what's going to happen when they're trying to get to the show. Um,
Yeah.
I would just say to anyone, you know, you have to be built with an organization that you can change on the fly just in case something like that happens. And we've had that happen a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, especially especially with some of the names you pointed out, it certainly has to be a logistical nightmare when those sorts of things kind of come into play, and you've always got to have a plan B ready, and I'm sure that you guys always do.
I
Um,
hold my breath every Saturday morning, just so you know, the day of the show.
I like it. I like it. So a little bit ago, you mentioned inclusivity and being proud that you've really helped to advance the women's wrestling scene in Georgia. Um, what advice or what insight would you give aspiring promoters that are looking to also walk in these footsteps of you to encourage more inclusivity across the board in professional wrestling?
Don't be scared. Um, if you live in your convictions, no matter what they are, you can. Don't be scared. If you think it's right, then you create your own path. There's so many cookie cutter promotions now that everyone does the same thing. Create your own path, and it will be successful. It might not be successful at first, but it will be successful.
I like it. I like it. If you can share it with us, what would you say is the biggest risk that you've taken when it comes to preparing an event or putting on a show for your crowd?
The biggest risk is every show. I mean, it's I mean, as me and Tim are doing this, we're putting our own money on the line. I mean, that's why we promote like crazy. That's why you constantly see Facebook, Instagram, Twitter posts. Um, you know, you're putting you're
Yeah,
putting your money on the line, and most promoters are putting their own money on the line. So
yeah,
that risk is at every show that you put on.
makes sense. Okay. Um, what would you say is the key to effectively marketing an independent wrestling event?
For us, it's been social media. We don't do flyers. I found that flyers in this day and time, I can reach 3,000 people with a Twitter post, an Instagram post, or a Facebook post. So we've really utilized social media to draw in our crowd. Um, I think that passing out flyers, even though a lot of people do it, I do believe that's a thing of the past. Um,
Hmm.
it doesn't make sense cost wise, and you can reach the same amount of people by posting it on social media.
I like it. I like it. So yeah, let's move back to the Never Say Die card this weekend. You've got Alex Kane in action defending his heavyweight championship. How did you first meet Alex Kane, and how did you know he's the guy for your promotion?
White Mike is the IWE champion.
Oh, I apologize. I
He's
apologize.
gonna catch
My
heat. You're gonna
apologies.
catch heat from White Mike
Hey,
on this one.
sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Please don't hurt me.
No, no, you're good. No, I mean all the guys that we bring in, we've met through just connections, uh, different shows, word of mouth. From the locker room, like, hey, you might want to reach out to IWE, and we try to bring in talent that is not going to be everywhere else. um, like bringing in the Colby Carino, the Alex Kane, White Mike, who, if you ever watch any of the YouTube videos, his promos are absolutely insanity. He is wonderful with the mic. He kind of reminds me of Stone Cold slash MJF. Like you're gonna start to hate him, but then you're gonna love him, which is so funny how at the beginning the crowd hated him and now they cheer for him because it's like the anti-establishment, and that's just one of the things that's amazed me. Um, and as far as the women's division, me watching a lot of wrestling through IWTV, through YouTube, just trying to find the next group of stars to come through.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Um, so as far as the matches you have this weekend streaming on IWT, is that going to be live, or is it going to be something released at a later date?
It usually comes out on IWTV a week later. Unfortunately, we're in an older building, so streaming live, even though that's something that we want to do in the future, it's just really it would be really difficult to do right now. So we usually it's usually 3 or 4 days after our shows that they
Okay.
drop on IWTV.
Nice, nice. So on average, ballpark, about how many shows a year do you guys put on?
Currently, we do 6. We do every other month. It's just because of Tim and I's work schedule. It's
Sure.
not feasible for us to do 12 shows a
Yeah.
year, but we have a lot of things in the work that I am extremely excited about. Can't announce them yet, but
Sure.
it's in the next 2 or 3 months you're going to be like, but I thought IWE was here. No, we're not going to be just here.
I like it. I like it. And I mean, it seems to me that especially if you're running only every other month, that allows stores that you're cultivating to breathe because you're not necessarily having to a show every single month. Is that fair to say?
Right. Yeah, and another thing is we can use these stories and we can put those on our social media platforms and help it grow because you it's been 2 months since our last show or and it's like but people still know the story because we're keeping
Yeah.
it fresh on social media and as long as we can keep them hooked in because when they get there they know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one thing that we've noticed over the last year that we've been doing this podcast, especially on Twitter slash X, is that it's very quick. You got a camera in your hand. It's very easy to do a quick 30-second promo. I mean, we've seen The Rock. He put out a 21-minute promo last Friday to address his beef with Cody Rhodes. It's good to see that this is finally something that's becoming more commonplace, especially because not everybody has access to IWTV or may not have seen the last show as they're getting ready for a new one. So this is another way to kind of keep up with what's going on in the interim, and it takes next to no time at all to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's really the thing is I think that more people are learning how to use social media in a positive way, and that is what the tremendous boom in my mind. And I may be wrong. It's just my opinion, but you know, the use of social media it has gravitated towards the wrestling business in a very positive way and entertaining for the fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so as again as we get ready for this weekend, are there any matches you're more excited about? Like, tell me what's going through your mind here as far as what you expect coming out of these matches here for those that have never experienced IWE before.
I am extremely interested. There is one match. Unfortunately, I can't give it away because
Okay.
it would give away a lot. But we are doing
Ah,
something that has never been done. And
okay.
in independent wrestling, I don't think I've never seen it. And yes, I am nervous about how it's going to be pulled off, but it has never been done from where I've seen it, especially in the state of Georgia. I can say that. There's your
Wow.
tease.
Wow. I feel like we're definitely, yeah, definitely getting the inside scoop here. I'm definitely intrigued to see how this is going on. So yeah, as we kind of wrap up here, give everybody the details. Where can they get tickets? Where can they watch it?
You can watch it on IWTV. We will be unfortunately can't stream live, but you can go to IWTV, like I say, in about 3 or 4 days, and you'll be able to see the full show. Um, you can grab tickets at iweonlinetix.ticketleap.com. Uh, yeah, oh, here comes Bryce. You see him? Here he comes. Uh,
Not yet, but yeah, I figure I'll wait for him to hop in the waiting room here.
Yeah, but
Uh,
anyway, IWE online ticks at ticketleap.com. You can definitely find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and everything IWE Pro, and you'll see the links on every post that we have.
I like it. I like it. And Bryce, I mean, here's your plug for Exotic Youth. My paddle is hanging up here on the wall here, so I promise you that there's a little bit of Exotic Youth, at least kind of in the background of my wrestling setup there. But Josh, before I let you go here, we ask this question of every single guest that is on the show. We kind of need your help settling a debate here. Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker.
Whew. That's tough.
I know.
Um, do I get like a 15-second pause or
You can have all the time
um
you want to think about. There's no wrong answer to this question.
I would probably say Shawn Michaels
Okay.
because he was more consistent and in the Undertaker's later WrestleMania matches probably were not the greatest. So I would have to go with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, no, so that's who I say podcast dad does not agree. Triple H, master of the WrestleMania entrance, yes, but a WrestleMania entrance does not a Mr. WrestleMania make, buddy. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, no, it's again we ask it to everybody that joins the show. I think that it'll always be a running debate. For me, they're more of a 1A 1B. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either of them. But that seems to be the general consensus is that the quality of matches across Shawn's entire career has always been better than Undertaker's. I mean,
That would be my
exactly,
argument.
yeah. I mean, Undertaker Giant Gonzalez isn't necessarily going and getting 5 stars from Meltzer. So it's you know Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, on the other hand, at least had a fighting shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But Josh, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Before we let you go, where can everybody find IWE on social media?
You can find us on Facebook at IWE Pro Wrestling. Just search Twitter, IWE Pro, on YouTube, IWE Pro. Every day we're dropping new content on our YouTube page. That's something we are efforting now. And, just follow us on all social media accounts. We appreciate the support.
Awesome, awesome. That sounds good. We greatly appreciate you joining us, and everybody make sure to check out IWE Never Say Die either in person or in the next week or so on IWTV. I get quite a bit out of my $10 subscription every month, so I mean it's well worth the price in my opinion.
And just so you know, just so everybody watching this, the tease that I did earlier, that may not make it to IWTV. But if you're in person and buy the ticket, you're going to always say, I was there when this happened.
Even better. You heard it here first. This is some pretty exclusive stuff here. So can't wait to see how this all turns out. Josh, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to have you and some more IWE talent back on again. Bryce always knows that he's welcome on the show anytime. So yeah, we hope to see more of you guys.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome, awesome. Stick around for just a second after the show. Thank you guys so much for checking out this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. Make sure to hit that QR code in the top left corner, like, share, subscribe. We're at 195 subscribers on YouTube, so if you can help us to get to 200 by the end of the weekend, that'd be great. If you know at least one person that would enjoy this podcast and what we do, just share it with them and let them see for themselves. We try to be as inclusive and kind around here as we can. We're just all about talking wrestling and having fun at the end of the day. So Josh, thank you guys so much for joining us. Can't wait to talk to you again soon. Thank you guys for watching out there. For the absent podcast dad, I am Mr. Cincinnati. It's been the Wrestling Junkies podcast, and we'll talk to you guys soon.